On today's show, the Cavs crushed the Lakers last night to move to 5-0. They've got the best record in the NBA. Let's talk about it on today's Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Danny Cunningham. You might know me from my time covering the Cleveland Cavaliers, places like my new Substack, The Inside Shot, 92.3 The Fan, Cleveland Magazine, and a number of other stops along the way. I want to say thank you to you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. You can find this show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about the Locked On Cavs podcast. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed. Also, check us out on YouTube. If you're watching this video right now, hit that thumbs up button for me. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content. Proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show, of course, is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. Cleveland Cavaliers with a very nice win over the Los Angeles Lakers last night. A lot to take away from this game. Jarrett Allen was awesome. Donovan Mitchell got off to such a great start, which was something that I think the Cavs needed. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. Evan Mobley had a great finish to the game after dealing with foul trouble for the better part of the first three quarters. But I really thought that the story of the night for the Cavs was how well Jarrett Allen played, especially when you think about Evan Mobley being in foul trouble. And a lot of eyes were on, at least for me, one of the things I was very interested to see was how did Evan Mobley match up with Anthony Davis? Anthony Davis has had a fantastic start to the season for the Lakers. He's been the guy that Los Angeles has been running their offense through. He's been their most important player, really, for the first time ever. Like, LeBron is still great. LeBron, I thought, was LA's best player on Wednesday night, but Anthony Davis has been the most important player the Lakers have had so far this year. So I was very excited to see what Evan Mobley was going to do against him, what that matchup was going to look like. We didn't really get that because Evan ended up playing like right around 20 minutes, and a good chunk of those minutes came in the fourth quarter when Anthony Davis wasn't on the floor. Evan was in foul trouble. He picked up his third foul with like 11 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the second quarter. And I don't think he played in the rest of the first half. And then he picked up his fourth foul at some points in quarter number 3 and didn't play again really until the fourth quarter. Now, Evan had an awesome fourth quarter where he had 17 points, but that meant Jarrett Allen had to pick up the slack. That meant Jarrett Allen had to operate for the most part as the only big on the floor for the Cavs. And this is a team that they've looked really good before Wednesday night. And I don't have the numbers from Wednesday night's game as I record this, but the Cavs have been really good with both Allen and Mobley on the floor together. Their net rating was like plus 13. With Evan Mobley playing center and Jarrett Allen on the bench, the Cavs were at like plus 30 through the first 4 games. With Jarrett Allen playing center and Evan Mobley on the bench, Cavs were plus 9. So all three of those things are very, very good, but of the 3 options, Jarrett Allen playing center had been the least advantageous for the Cavs. Still really good, but not as good as playing with Evan or Evan playing alone. I thought that for a good chunk of the game, Jarrett Allen was the guy that was controlling the game, that he was the best player on the floor. He finished with 20 points, had 17 rebounds. I thought he was super impactful on both ends. You think back to the just a highlight block where Rui Hachimura tried to put Jarrett Allen on a poster near the end of the shot clock. Jarrett Allen was having none of it. That is a play that you're going to see. You know, if you go to a game at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, it would not surprise me if you're at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on Friday when the Orlando Magic are here, if that block from Jarrett Allen is in the pregame hype video, like the video that they play before they announce the starters. That was the kind of block Jarrett Allen had on Rui Hachimura. So I thought Allen was awesome, and I think that the Cavs needed it. And one of the things that I really do think matters here is it's a different guy every night for the Cavs. And I'll talk about that a little bit more coming up in segment number 2. But I also want to talk about how Donovan Mitchell got off to a really good start, because I thought a night like Wednesday, when And the Lakers, I do think, are going to be a good team. I don't know that they'll be a great team. I think the Cavs are a better team. I think that 1 through 13, the Cavs have a better roster than the Lakers. And I think that showed because we saw the Lakers bench just not be able to hang with the Cavs bench. But when LeBron James is in that building, it feels different. It feels as if it's a playoff game. It's not, for the vast majority of games there, it's like 95% Cavs fans. But because of who LeBron is, because of LeBron's history with Cleveland, it's always going to feel different when he's back in an opposing uniform. It's not that the majority of the fans in that building don't want the Cavs to win, because I do think that's still the case. But I think everybody there, or at least most people there, have a love and appreciation for LeBron James. And that makes the energy in the building feel a little bit different. It's a little bit more charged up. It's a different atmosphere than just pick another Wednesday night home game that the Cavs play the rest of the year. It was a different atmosphere on Wednesday night inside that building. And Donovan Mitchell got off to a great start for the Cavs. And I think that was something that, while they're a really good team and they don't need to be told they're a really good team, I think they know they're a really good team. I think that start from him was something that helped to settle that team down a little bit to where, okay, this is a little bit of a different environment. It's a little bit of a different atmosphere, but we're still the better team here and we're going to go handle our business. And that's exactly what they did. Donovan had, I believe, 15 points in the first quarter. He hit 3 threes really early on. He got off to an awesome start. He didn't have the greatest remainder of the game, but the start of the game that he had was, I think, something that if that doesn't happen, if the Cavs don't come out with more energy, with more focus than the Lakers did, that could have been a game. You know, if that is a game late, you're in danger of LeBron going into LeBron mode and putting on a show in front of his hometown, because we have seen that happen before with the Cavs being good. Like that happened a couple of years ago. LeBron just put on a show at the end and he won the game for them. That the chances of that happening were squashed in the first quarter. The Cavs came out right from the jump and handled their business. And I think Donovan Mitchell was a big reason why, because he got off to such a good start. He had such a good first quarter, and that was coming off of a game where, you know, I thought he closed the game against the Knicks relatively well, but we saw Darius Garland be the guy in the fourth quarter where, and I've talked about this too, that, you know, we've seen different guys be the best player for the Cavs, and maybe it was Donovan Mitchell tonight. Maybe it was Jarrett Allen tonight. I think it was definitely one of those two, and I will talk about that more in segment number 3. But in the first quarter, Donovan was the best player on the floor. And that's in a game that involves, you know, the Cavs have 4 guys that they believe are all-star caliber players. The Lakers have LeBron and Anthony Davis, who are all NBA players. Donovan Mitchell was the best player at the start of that game. And because of everything that goes into LeBron being back in town, it being the Lakers, the Cavs off to a 4-0 start, things are starting to feel a little bit different in a good way, but they're starting to feel a little bit different. I thought that fast start from Donovan settled them down just a little bit. And I think that he was able to take control of the game in a way that you see superstars do. And that's exactly what Donovan Mitchell is. He's a superstar. He played like one early on in this game for the Cavs. The thing that was disappointing early was the foul trouble for Evan and Darius. Like, I would have loved to, and the discrepancies between fouls in this game was ridiculous. I don't have the box score in front of me, but there was a point on Wednesday night. It was in the third quarter, maybe early in the fourth quarter, but the Cavs had been whistled for 20 fouls, and the Lakers had been whistled for 3 fouls with 1 minute and 52 seconds left in the third quarter. Like, that is an insane discrepancy. That changed how the Cavs had to play, but Jarrett Allen stepped up. Donovan Mitchell stepped up. I thought Karis LeVert off the bench, because Darius Garland only played 22 minutes, I thought he stepped up. He hit some big 3-pointers. I thought he was a tremendous distributor of the basketball. This was a game that the Cavs scored 130 points, which, if you've been watching the Cavs, that's a difficult thing to do. They only did that 4 times last year. They've done it 3 times tonight. To score 130 points and not have a player score more than 25 means that it is a pretty solid team effort. And the Cavs ended the night with 6 guys in double figures. And that's a really good place to be. You had 3 guys over 20 points in Donovan, Jarrett, and Evan. That's a really, really good place to be. I know a lot of Evan's points came late, but I think the Cavs are in a great place because I think they're playing team basketball. I think the offense looks tremendous for a number of different reasons. But the most important thing that I've seen from the Cavs has to do with who the best player is. Going to talk about that and why it's important next, right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. I tell you about FanDuel all the time because FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL and the NBA all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, whether it's basketball or football, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So visit FanDuel.com today. They have a ton to offer. They have a ton on the Cavs too. I mean, the Cavs, from what I've seen, just perusing FanDuel, you can get futures. Like you can pick who you think is going to win what division. The Cavs entered the season second as far as betting odds go to win the Central Division in the East because the Milwaukee Bucks were the favorites. Well, 5 games in, the Cavs are off to the best start in the NBA. The Bucks are off to a not so great start. The Cavs are now the favorites to win the Central at -170. That is something that has changed. It's changed in a really good way. As of yesterday, when I was recording this, the Cavs had the 6th best odds to win the East at +1,700. Just another win tonight boosted that up to +1,500. That might be a good bet. I still think Boston's the best team in the East, but if you look at Milwaukee, Philly, New York, I think the Cavs can beat any of those teams in a playoff series. I'm not saying they will, but I think they can. And maybe something goes wrong with the Celtics. Cavs could find their way in the finals. It's not crazy to think about. So if you like any of those, or maybe you like something else, I don't know what you like. Head on over to FanDuel.com, and you can get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. You can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review as well. Be a friend. Tell a friend about the Locked On Cavs podcast. Also, we are available on YouTube. If you're watching this video right now, hit that thumbs up button for me. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content coming your way. A proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So one of the best things that I have seen with the Cleveland Cavaliers through the first 5 games is it feels like it's a different player that's carrying the load every night. Like tonight, early on, it felt like Donovan Mitchell was his time to step up. And then I thought it shifted to Jarrett Allen, where he was terrific. He had 20 points, 17 rebounds. He was a big reason why the Cavs won. And then late in the game where, the game was probably out of reach, but the Lakers they're a frisky team. You cut it to 15. Anything can happen in today's NBA. If they get hot from 3, which they didn't, but anything can happen. Evan Mobley was the guy that shut the door. And then you go back to Monday. Darius Garland carried them in the second half against New York. The Cavs right now are more dangerous than I think they've been at any time since Donovan Mitchell arrived. And I think they're more dangerous not because Donovan Mitchell has ascended to an entirely new level. He's still great. But because Evan Mobley's raised his game. I think Jarrett Allen has raised his game. Darius Garland is back to being an all-star caliber player. I know tonight was a rough night for him, primarily because he was in foul trouble and we played 22 minutes. But he's had such a great start to the season. It is a different guy every night for the Cavs. And especially early in the season, because there's going to be a stretch where someone goes into a slump and the Cavs are going to need Donovan Mitchell to put on a superhero cape and carry them for a few games. That is going to happen. There's going to be a stretch where Evan Mobley has to be great for a week and a half because the Cavs need him to. But right now, the Cavs don't need anybody to be great. And the reason for that is they're getting such good performances from so many different guys that if they don't need somebody to be great, it's easier for them to play. And they're harder to defend. if you watch this game, or if you watch any game for that matter, a defense like Los Angeles only has so many resources. They don't have the ability to have 4 great defensive players, 2 of whom are bigs, 2 of whom are guards or wings, to defend Donovan, Darius, Evan, Jarrett. Now, I don't know that you have to give quite as much defensive attention to Jarrett because he's not creating for himself or others. Like, he's kind of the beneficiary, I think, of the other 3 as far as where his points are coming from. That doesn't mean he's not awesome. That doesn't mean he's not having a huge impact. I just think that's how the offense works. But with the other 3, how do you stop 3 creators playing at the level those guys are playing at right now? And those guys might not play at this level all season long, but this is a great sign too. And it's a great sign when you have a superstar like the Cavs have in Donovan Mitchell, for it to not need to be him to go close out a game every night, for him not to carry the load on such a regular basis. One, that's going to have a big payoff at the end of the year, because at this point, I think under previous coaching staffs, and I was talking with somebody today about this, at this point in the season, Donovan Mitchell would have had 1 or maybe 2 games where he had eclipsed 40 minutes. Darius Garland would have played 40 minutes against the Knicks without a question. I don't know if they win or lose that game. They could have the same exact record, but I think the minute allocation looks differently than it does. And I think there will be a payoff for that at the end of the year. 3 or 4 minutes a night doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're 5-0 and your best player hasn't played more than 34 minutes in a game, whatever he played against Detroit, he only played 33 against New York. That's a really good place to be, because previous years, I think he's playing 40 plus in those games. And we've seen him wear down at the end of the year. We've seen guys have wear and tear injuries, and I think that's where that comes from. That is going to pay off this year. If they have the ability to have someone different carry the load on a different night, that's really important. And when the playoffs do arrive, because this is a team through 5 games, like, I'm very confident in saying, 1, the over is going to hit. Like, I think a lot of things would have to go wrong for them to not win 50 games. With how this is a really, really good basketball team. It's a really, really good basketball team. I don't know if they're championship contenders, but they are a really, really good basketball team that's going to win a lot of regular season games. So when it gets time to be in the playoffs, these guys having experience, like Evan having the experience he had against Toronto, and even in the fourth quarter tonight, I know the game wasn't necessarily close, but he was the one that slammed the door shut on the Lakers. Darius having the experience he had against New York. Donovan has all kinds of that experience of leading an offense. That's going to make them so much more difficult to deal with. And the way the Cavs are running the offense, where it's so much different than it was in years past, where different guys are creating, and Darius and Donovan are playing off the ball a little bit more. And I just think there's much more movement too in how they're playing offensively. I think there's so much less isolation than we've seen in years past, and so much more movement. It seems like offensively they're just so much more creative than they had been in the past, and that really bodes well for them. This offense, I don't see a reason why what they're doing isn't sustainable. Now, are they going to average 127 points a night like they're averaging? Probably not. Like, that's probably going to come back to earth at some point. And tonight they shot the ball really well from deep, especially in the first quarter. I think they hit 8 threes in the first quarter. You're not always going to have nights like that, but this is a sustainable level of offense. Maybe not 127 points a game, but this group, there's no reason why they cannot be a top 5 offense. There's no reason why they can't be that good. Everything I've seen from them doesn't look like outlier performances. It doesn't. This just looks like a team that is going to, at the very least, and again, I don't know what the postseason is going to bring when we get there, but at the very least, this looks like a team that is going to be a great regular season team. I firmly believe that after 5 games, and I get it, it's a small sample size, and I understand all of that, but after 5 games, I firmly believe that this team is in play for the 2 seed. I think that is entirely possible. I think the 1 seed is going to be tough, but I think the 2 seed for this team is entirely possible. And I don't feel like I'm overreacting to another blowout win, because, I mean, they've had 4 of them. And they had one close game where they were able to fight back and play great in the fourth quarter. But nothing I've seen what they've done on offense looks to me like, oh, well, you can't do that. Like, that doesn't make sense. Or you're getting lucky here. Or this is just, you're playing so far above your heads in this one area. You've been hot shooting for 5 games. That will happen. But that's not what it's been. This is sustainable. The offensive system has been awesome for the Cavs. And that's a big reason why they smoked the Lakers. They're getting the shots they want. They're playing at a great pace. They're still playing really good defense. This Cavs team is going to be really, really fun to watch. They're going to be really, really good. And because they've got so many guys that are capable of being the best player on any given night, it makes them so much better. And it makes them so hard to stop, too. Player of the game, and let's be honest, Wednesday night was a pretty cool moment inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. We're going to talk about that next, right here on Locked On Cavs. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Find the show anywhere you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review as well. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, click subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content. Also, we are doing newsletters. I'm sending out a Cavs newsletter every day through Locked On. Get the best Cavs news, insight, plus a national article, fantasy basketball updates delivered right to your mailbox. Link is in the show description on YouTube or wherever you're getting your podcasts. Check that out. Make sure you subscribe. It costs you nothing to get additional Cavs content inside your inbox every single day. So I thought Jarrett Allen and Donovan Mitchell, they're going to be my players of the game. I'm going to have 2 because I think that the start Donovan Mitchell got off to was really, really important for the Cavs. I think they needed to have somebody come out and say, this might not feel like a normal game. And with LeBron, it never does. But we're not going to back down here. We're going to take control of this game at the start, and we're never giving it back. And like the Lakers started off 4-0, and then Donovan Mitchell said, that's enough of this. Going to take over. And that's exactly what he did. He was awesome early on. He had a few buckets later, but he was awesome in that first quarter. I thought just the meaning of getting going quick was enough to earn half of a player of the game nod. The other half is going to go to Jarrett Allen. With Evan Mobley dealing with foul trouble against a big guy in Anthony Davis, who is absolutely terrific. Jarrett Allen having to play extra minutes because Evan wasn't available with those fouls was really important. Like, that could have been a time where if he didn't have it tonight, Anthony Davis could have gone to work. He could have made life really tough for the Cavs. But instead, Jarrett stepped up. He's been awesome all year. He's not going to get the praise that he deserves because I think he's the 4th best player of the core 4. He's not capable of doing the things the other guys are capable in terms of creation and attacking off the dribble. And, a lot of his offense needs to be set up. But he is so steady. He's so consistent. He's so good around the rim on both ends. The block he had to Rui Hachimura was awesome. His shooting percentage is just through the roof. I know he missed a dunk tonight, which was funny because at shoot around earlier today mentioned, a lot of my shots are dunks, which are pretty high percentage, and they are, but that's kind of the little blip. That's the one dunk that doesn't go down. But I thought he was awesome, especially with Evan having to miss so much of this game because of foul trouble. Jarrett Allen played so well. He's been so good in the first 5 games. And if he keeps at this level and he is still the 3rd or 4th best player, there are just not many teams that you can look at the roster and their 4th best player is as good or better than Jarrett Allen. There are some, like Boston's 4th best player, Drew Holiday, probably better than Jarrett Allen, but it's not a long list. It is very much not a long list. He's been so good so far this year. If he keeps this up, the Cavs are going to be so hard to beat on a regular basis. They're going to be really, really difficult for other teams to deal with. So those are my 2 players of the game for the Cavs. I do want to take a couple of minutes and talk about LeBron and Bronny and I understand that there are a lot of people that don't think Bronny should be in the NBA, that he's only in the NBA because of his dad. I don't care about that take. I don't care about I don't care. Wednesday night was really, really cool to see Bronny score his first NBA points in the building where his father's arguably most best, greatest, whatever you want to say, athletic accomplishment, the 2016 Cavs championship, where that banner hangs in the rafters, Bronny getting his first bucket, was a really cool moment. I thought it was really cool the way the fans received him because he didn't live in Northeast Ohio his entire life, but he spent most of his life living in Northeast Ohio. He was born here, he was raised here. So to have that bucket happen inside that building, I thought was really, really cool. I think LeBron and Bronny being on the same team, getting to share the floor on opening night was really cool. I don't understand thinking that and everything that everyone says about Bronny is how he does things the right way, about how hard he works. And maybe right now he's not ready to be an NBA role player. I do think that one day he can get there. But I think you've got to be a real hater to just think that wasn't a cool moment. To see him especially hit a shot that, his dad has hit, a very similar looking shot that the one LeBron has hit in very similar parts of the court inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I just, what a cool moment. Not only for that family, but for Northeast Ohio. Like, those are two guys that were both born in Akron, 35 miles from where this game was played on Wednesday night. And to see that moment was really, really cool. Very happy for him, very happy for LeBron. Like, that's a really cool thing to get to experience. I'm glad I was in the building. I thought it was a really great gesture too. The Cavs, someone from the Cavs gave the net from that basket to a person on the Lakers support staff. And Bronny James had it in a bag after the game. So that is something he'll get to take home and, gets to keep forever. That's a really cool gesture by the Cavs. It really is. I'm glad the Cavs did that. I'm glad that we got to see that moment. And I thought it was really cool that Cavs fans were chanting for Bronny, that, every time in the fourth quarter when Bronny was in the game, every time someone else on the Lakers, like Dalton Knecht was still in, I think Max Christie was still in, every time someone on the Lakers took a shot that wasn't him, they got booed. And every time Bronny touched the basketball, the place exploded. When the pop in the arena when he got up off the bench was super cool. When he checked in, I thought it was really cool too that he got to check in with Tristan Thompson, because obviously LeBron and Tristan have a relationship that dates back quite a ways. So Tristan is someone that Bronny has known for not his entire life, but for the majority of his life. Like, he has known Tristan Thompson since 2014. So that was really, really cool to see. It was a moment that I'm sure he will never forget. It was a moment I'm glad I was in the building for. But the Cavs got a really big win. They are a better team than the Lakers. They took care of business. They right now have the best record in basketball. They are one of the best teams in basketball. Going to keep talking about it, going to keep diving into what's working offensively, what's working defensively, how good Donovan Mitchell, how good Jarrett Allen, how good Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, the whole group has been right here on Locked On Cavs. So if you liked what you heard, make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review as well. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. If you're not watching on YouTube, go watch on YouTube. Just search Locked On Cavs and you can get the latest content about the Cleveland Cavaliers from me each and every day. I will be back tomorrow talking more about the Cleveland Cavaliers right here on Locked On Cavs.